Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring. I'm with the usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. How you guys doing tonight?
Groovy Schmoothy.
Groovy smoothie.
Love to
Nick's
hear
doing
it, Brian.
terrific. Nick wasn't listening at all.
I'm terrific. You know why I'm
Nick's
terrific?
Yeah, okay, there we go.
'Cause
Why?
I'm terrific.
Because you can watch golf and talk about it with Brian.
Yeah, facts. I'm terrific because Jordan Spieth's 3 under par.
Jordan
And
Spieth,
Patrick Cantley's
baby.
4 under par.
I got Nick
Those
on
are
the
my two
Jordan
guys.
Spieth freaking hype train because I feel like you weren't like this a year or two ago. But Jordan's
2 years ago, I was on the
back.
hype train, and then he
I'll
sucked.
do
and then I
anything
kinda-
for that man. But yes,
And-
Jordan's back,
I
baby.
wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything for that man.
I would
but
do anything for him.
I absolutely would not do anything for that man. But whatever.
I would
Okay.
love to golf with him.
I love to golf with him. I love to golf with any professional golfer.
I
Okay.
wouldn't want to golf with like some other Jamoke. I don't want to golf
John
with
Rahm.
Molinari. Ugh, I wouldn't want to golf with John Rahm.
Anyone with
Second
not a-
world
Isn't this
right now.
great?
Anyone that
talk
doesn't have
from
a red, white,
listeners?
blue 50-star flag next to their name, you wouldn't want to golf with.
That's
Is there
not
anyone? Is there any non-United States player that you would want
Rory?
to golf with? Who?
true. Rory,
Oh yeah, Rory.
Shane Lowry.
Really?
He's funny.
Of all guys.
Let's just make this a golf podcast.
No.
You picked Jamoke Redbeard Leprechaun. That won the Open
just trying
and
to
missed the
think,
next
like,
3 cuts
I
after
wouldn't.
that.
None of the other I hate Poulter. I hate Rose. None of those guys.
You hate the guy. You hate the guys with big personalities. Except,
Frickin'
wait, Rose
Rose
has
has
no
a-
personality. Why do you
Yeah,
hate
but
Rose?
he's a Jamoke,
He's just automatic.
but he's not anymore. He's like ancient at this point.
He also never plays. So
Yeah. When was the last time that guy played?
the Masters probably. Masters US
Probably.
Open.
All right, so we got some sports that we can talk about. The
That's
NBA
great.
All-Star starters were announced earlier today. We can get to that. The Padres just signed Fernando Tatis Jr. to 14 years and 360, I think it was,
A
something like
little
that.
ahead of.
A little ahead.
40, I think.
We can get to that too. But first, we will start with the biggest news of the day, which is Carson Wentz going to the Indianapolis Colts. Anyone want to start us off with their thoughts about this?
I'd like to start. I'm going to start.
Okay.
I'm just going to allow anyone to answer that. I'm going to start. I think the Colts now, because of this, have jumped into that top tier in the AFC where they compete with Buffalo and Buffalo and Kansas City. He probably won't win. But we don't think Buffalo can compete with Kansas City either. So, but they'll be up in that tier, obviously, because Wentz sucked in Philly mainly because he does stink as a quarterback, but he had a really bad receiving core, injured O-line. Ertz never played 100%. He didn't handle the Hurts pick very well, and I think the coaching staff was horrendous. And then he goes to Indianapolis, great defense, top 3 defense in the NFL, top 5 O-line in the NFL, fantastic run game, great running back core, great guys to use, solid receiving core, Hilton, Pittman, etc. Much better coaching staff, and he's got really no QB competition. I think he's got
Oh, whoa!
what? Whoa.
What do you
Jacoby
Disrespect to
You're
Jacoby Brissett.
disrespecting
Oh, give me a
Jacoby
break.
Brissett,
Give me a
dude.
break. He's got job security. He's got receiving core. He's got a team. I don't think Philip Rivers is that good. He can do more than Philip Rivers. I think Indianapolis got much better. I think this is a win-win for Indy, for Philly, for Wentz. This is a win-win for everyone. This is a perfect trade.
Yeah, and he's back with his
Right.
Frank Wright, but he was the OC when the
Yeah, when he
Eagles
got
were.
drafted.
Or, he's the OC or quarterbacks coach. Which one? One of the two. Regardless,
the
he was
other
with Wentz and he worked with Wentz. So he gets his coach back and gets that familiarity. So I agree. I think this is very good move. I'm still not. I mean, we always say how terrible Wentz is, and throughout the season we said how trash he was. But I'm still not there with him yet. Where I'm like, okay, this man needs to leave the NFL and join Johnny Manziel in the Arena Football Leagues. I'm not there yet with him yet. I still think he's super young. He's had a lot of injury prone years where he's missed a lot of time. Really hasn't played a playoff game, really. But he's brought Eagles teams to positions to be in the playoffs, but they were just led by Nick Foles because Wentz was injured. And before one of those injuries, he had an MVP season. So I think if he likes it in Indianapolis and starts to get a feel for it, I think he can get back to that level. Probably not MVP status, but who knows? I think he can be borderline Pro Bowl, which Pro Bowl really doesn't mean anything, but I think he can be up there. And then, like Nick mentioned with the defense, they were one of the best defenses in the league for the first half of the year. Kind of took a step back in the second half of the year, but that first half of the year, they were one of, if not the best defense in the NFL. So I think that they're looking really good for the future.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. Like you said, we all were just so Carson Wentz is terrible. Get this guy out of the league. Definitely not there yet, but he still needs to prove that he can get back to, like you said, at least that Pro Bowl level, because just because of how bad he was last year, he has something to prove this year.
Yeah, he needs to prove that he can't turn the ball over. That's the big thing with me with Carson Wentz. He can make really good throws. Yeah, I mean, well, he didn't have that bad of a season because, well, he probably would have if he played more games. But he has to prove that he can't make those poor decisions.
Consider his fumbles. That guy likes fumbling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know.
But
go ahead.
The turnovers will go down, and that's because of the offensive line. Because, I mean, less pressures means less fumbles. Interceptions will also decrease with better protection, but still, you can't blame every single interception on the offensive linemen and the receivers. There comes a point where you actually need to take some responsibility for throwing interceptions. So he still has, I think that obviously turnovers will go down, interceptions will go down, but he still needs to prove that he can limit the amount of turnovers and not rely on that top 5 defense to go out there every single drive and make a stop, because it's just not going to happen. It's an offensive heavy game. It's a lot of teams score at high rates, and Carson Wentz can't turn the ball over if he wants to compete with teams.
Yeah, some of those, you're right, Andrew. Some of them were because a lot of the fumbles, actually I wouldn't say a decent amount of fumbles because of his offensive line. He has a much better offensive line. But some of the picks last year he had, I can remember one in particular. I forget who it was against. I have a feeling it was a Sunday night or Monday night game against a division opponent, either the Cowboys or the Giants. I can't remember which team. But there was a point where he was scrambling to the left sideline, and it was either a third. I think it was a third down.
I feel like I remember this.
Cowboys. You said
the Danucci game.
It might have been. Oh yes, I think it was actually because he's rolling to the left. He's rolling because it was in Philly, right? Yeah. He's rolling to the left sideline. Third down, they're in field goal range, so they're gonna at least get a field goal, and he just tosses it up in the back of the end zone where there's nobody there. And throws an interception. Terrible decisions. And honestly, I really don't know I don't know what went on with him this past season, but one thing that I can say that could be a possibility is that he might have felt a little bit of pressure from the Eagles front office, especially when they drafted Hurts.
Yeah.
He could have felt that pressure and felt like he needed to make the big play all the time to keep his spot secure, basically, as a starter. So he tried a little too hard. He tried a little too much. Experimented way more than he needed to, and tried to make the big play. He really didn't. He wasn't good at doing the right play and making the safe play to help his team.
Sport.
No, he wasn't. So I feel like that might have been a factor as to why he played so poorly, is because the team drafted a quarterback with their second round pick. So he felt pressured that he needed to prove to them that he was the starter, and he kind of just made that decision easier for them because he did not play well at all. But I think he can be better. I think he can be much better. There wasn't really much to say about it because we all agree that it's a good move. Actually, it was a really good move because they only had to give up a second and a third. That was, in my opinion, it's going to be a steal. But
well, the second can turn into a first, but who knows?
Yeah, that is true.
The
first 2 rounds are both very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I would have thought it would be a little bit more, but it is Carson Wentz. He did have a bad year, buy low on him, so that was a good move by the Colts. Enough said. Now, Fernando Tatis got a big old payment yesterday in the form of 14 years, and I said 340. I think it's 360. Is the official one. $360 million for 4 years. And in my opinion, he is a very, very good player, but he has not played 162 games yet. He hasn't even played a full season.
Ridiculous.
That it was a little bit
That just
premature.
means Soto and Acuna about to make 500.
Which they do also, that's a little much for them, but
Well, they shouldn't. But I'm just saying, like,
they shouldn't. But they should get their contract sooner rather than Tatis, because they've been in the league for exactly. They've been in the league for a year longer than he has.
I just want
to go ahead.
I just want to point out what's wrong with sports, and I know I can't control this, and I know it's individual sports leagues can't control this, so I'm not really, just bear in mind when I say this that Fernando Tatis is $24.72 million he makes a year in the NBA would be behind Buddy Hield and ahead of LaMarcus Aldridge, and if you were to tell me that in their respective sports, Fernando Tatis would be as good as Buddy Hield, I would have laughed in your face and spit at you. He's the best shortstop in the MLB, and I understand NBA makes much more money, but it frustrates me that a guy that is playing that good, is so good in his respective sport, is not making as much as Buddy Hield in the NBA.
Okay, but that's just
I said bear in mind I can't control this and they can't control this. I just
bring this to the NHLPA and you'll get a job on the spot, Nick.
Exactly. It should.
No, I understand.
Connor McDavid probably makes less than Tristan Thompson.
I absolutely understand that. I do. I'm just saying. That's just how I feel about it. I know I can't control us. I know we can't control us. I can't control it. The league can't control this. He can't control this. But I think that's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's the market. So he got the market for elite shortstops, which he is at the moment. But I feel like again it's too premature. They could have settled 2 or 3 years down the road and try to see what happens. I mean, I said it before to start it off. The dude hasn't even played a full season. He hasn't played 162 games in his career. He played 80 something last year, and then 2020 was only 60. And I'm not even sure if he played all 60. So he hasn't even played a full season yet, and he already is under contract for 14 years. And the other thing is they have a lot of other pieces that they have to keep under contract. Like I think Clevenger only has, after this season, I think he only has one more season under his deal. I don't know what Machado's is big, so Machado will be there for a while. But they have a lot of other moving pieces that they have to address in terms of money. And I don't know if giving it all to Tatis right now is the logical move. I mean, if they sensed that he was going to leave in free agency or whatever, whenever his rookie contract or whatever is up, then maybe. But I don't think that was the sense at all. I think he wanted to be there. So I think that they should have done this 2 or 3 years down the road just to let him develop and see, okay, is this actually the guy? And then also address other money issues that they have with other players too. So.
Regardless of timing, of what the Padres maybe could have handled that a little bit better. I agree. Maybe sign him maybe next year or whatever, when they can get a couple other guys locked into secure contracts. But I think that on the bright side, you flip this around, we say, we look at Bryce Harper's contract, huge contract. He's nearing the end of his prime and he's not producing much anymore. He's still producing fine, but not as much as he was doing in Washington. Obviously definitely overpaid, and he's going to be locked into his late 30s. You get a guy for Fernando Tatis, I don't know what his age is, but definitely young 20s. And you lock him into a 14-year deal. He's leaving free agency right when you want him to leave, where he's not as valuable anymore. He'll be in his
mid to late, at the right time.
He'll be in his mid to late 40s, 30s, mid 30s. He'll probably be playing.
Yeah.
He might still be fine, but he's not going to be the electric shortstop he has. He won't have the range. Who knows where the league will be in 14 years? But I'm assuming he probably won't, have the bat speed. So I'm glad and you flip this around. I'm glad they signed him now than as opposed to later.
And you look at to see kind of what the Red Sox screwed up with. They signed Sale before they signed Mookie. So Luke,
that's an issue.
You're saying the Padres should sign Clevenger before they sign Tatis. There you go. Now you're screwed up. You don't want to go over the luxury tax. Now you got to trade him.
This just shows how teams should treat their stars and how poor the Red Sox handle the bat situation. If you really, Price's contract was up in a couple years. We'll flip this right back to Padres real quick, but I just want to say Price's contract was up in a couple years. A guy like Mookie, you pay him whatever he wants and for how long he wants. That's what you just pay him whatever. You give because he was ranked the second best player in the league. You give him whatever, just like they're giving Tatis whatever he wants and whenever he wants. Or treating him like the prince, like he's groomed to be the greatest player in that franchise's history. And you pay Mookie. The Red Sox made the mistake. They should have paid Mookie whatever he wanted. John Henry should have sucked up them paying that luxury tax until Price's contract ended, and let him go and walk in free agency. But we'll flip it back to the Padres. But this is how teams should handle their stars. With my point being, this is the San Diego. They paid Tatis that money because they saw him. He was going to play a very crucial role in the franchise's future. They signed him. They have him locked into his prime and far and after. And I think it was very well handled by San Diego.
Yeah. So to go back to the Mookie thing, that's. It's a little bit different of a situation though, because I'm not doubting Tatis's ability and his ability to be an all-star player for the next decade and a half. But the thing with Mookie was the Red Sox should have paid Mookie because he won an MVP, he was an all-star a bunch of times, and he won a World Series. Tatis hasn't been an all-star yet. Yes, they didn't have an all-star game in 2020, he probably would have been one. So we can say he has one all-star appearance, and again, hasn't played 162 games yet. So that's where I think it is a little too premature rather than Mookie, who had been in the league for, 5 or 6 years, won an MVP, been to a bunch of all-star games. Tatis still, I think, has a little bit more to prove. Again, not knocking his ability. He's a fantastic baseball player, but we've seen a bunch of times where players get paid and they don't really live up to the hype as much. And again, those are with the older players really who are signed to big deals when they're 28.
This would kind of random comparison here. But Hanley and Tatis. Hanley was supposed to be the greatest shortstop in this generation, and then he turned into a bum.
Yeah. So I don't think Tatis is going to be Hanley, but it's something to think about.
But that's just a guy who got paid and then turned into a bump.
He wasn't
something. It's something to think.
We don't argue about
fine, but he wasn't like
he didn't live up to expectations. But he had a good
wasn't.
prime. We don't need to argue about Hanley though.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be Hanley, but I again still think it's just a tiny bit premature. What kills them right now is Will Myers making $20 million a year for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That kills them.
I think, Luke, at the end of the day, though, as long as we can sit here and agree that at some point I think we can sit here and agree at some point this move needed to be made. They needed to lock up Tatis. It could have been a little early. I guess if he turns into a bum, then, and as you point out with Ozuna, especially when we were talking about on the topic of Marcell Ozuna, when you said how guys kind of just get their contract, get locked in, and stop trying. That's the only risk you run with this because he's getting paid this money. I'm sure it's all mostly guaranteed, and he's set for life. His family's set for life. His next generation set. He's making a lot of money, and a lot of generations of Tatises are going to be set for life. So you question that, is he going to still be motivated to continue to try and win games for this organization?
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
He's done. He doesn't have to play anymore. He can make all this. He doesn't have to try anymore. He's done. He's set.
So that's just it. I don't know. I just question this. I question this sometimes, especially with a guy this young. Do they really have to sign him for 14 years?
No.
That's what I hate. I
Like-
hate the contracts that are this
Like
long.
so here's what I was thinking. Like
Because of
I don't
Trout.
obviously I don't know if this is true. So Mike Trout's different. He's a generational
I know,
talent.
but that contract sparked the string of years in the
Yes.
teens.
So I
Ridiculous
don't
length
understand why Tatis hasn't played a full season of 162 games. You sign him for like a 4-year deal, and then if you really want him for 14, give him a 10-year extension before his contract is up, and then give him the big money.
Yeah.
I
This
don't know.
is-
That's just
like
something that
Mookie-
crossed my mind. I don't know. It's just so weird.
This is one of those years where this is one of those cases, in my opinion, where it's a team that hasn't had a lot of generational talent, and this is like kind of like this is their biggest star since Tony Wynn. I mean, he's right. They're grooming him to be their biggest star since Tony Wynn, and that's a big. He's the best player in Padres history. His numbers everywhere, his statues outside of Petco Park. I mean, Tony Wynn's the man in San Diego if you're a baseball fan, and they're grooming Tatis to be a guy like that, and they're gonna pay him. This is to me, this could be one of those scenarios where, it's you hyped up a guy way too early and you paid him too much money, and now I think the fact that he has played a full season, that maybe a little. Now I'm thinking about it, this might have been a little impulsive. Just get this guy under contract because I don't want to wait and hope this. I don't want to wait for this guy to change his mind. And there might be something in the back scenes that we don't know about, but highly unlikely. And if there is nothing backstage that I have no idea about, this might have been a very impulsive move by San Diego. It might be costly, it might not. I don't think he's young, he's aspirational. I think he'll live up, at least for now, live up to that money. But the question is, can he continue to play well into his prime? Will he be motivated to, now that he knows he's set for life?
Brian, you were
Um,
saying something.
I feel like he should.
It was just based on like the long contracts. Like Tatis's 14-year isn't terrible because he's only 21, 22. But like
Mhm.
Mookie
He's
got
22.
13 years at basically 28. Is Mookie Betts going to be Mookie Betts in the
And
last
40?
4 years of that deal
Yeah,
at 37,
40?
38,
Very
39,
true.
40, and 41?
Mike Trout's 10 2 years ago. I mean, he's different, but who knows what he's going to look like when he's
I don't
in his
thi-
upper
yeah.
30s. So,
The length of these contracts are ridiculous.
and
I mean,
Harper too. Harper, we were talking about
Stanton
Harper.
got that 13-year one.
Harper is 13 for 300. That is or 12 for 300, whatever it was. That is a stupid contract because they're paying. They signed him when he was end of prime. They signed him when he was what, 29, 30? End of prime.
Harper's
No.
still like 27 right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
he's-
He came into the
He's
league
young-
at 19.
Oh,
He's young.
yeah.
He's
You
young,
can't
but
believe
he's
he was in
not.
his teens.
He's young, but he's not young enough to sign him to
No, I get it.
to
I guess
more than
I've seen him
10
play
or
for so
11
long that I
years.
forgot he started playing when he was 19.
Harper right now is 28.
Yeah, I guess I
that's
forgot he
crazy.
started. And this is he's going into his third year of Philly. So they signed when he was 26. But he's going
Mhm.
into his third year of Philly. That makes sense. Well, regardless, I just these length contracts are really big gambles by teams. It's working out for the Angels so far because Mike Trout's the best player in the league and he's maintained
Of
that
all
stat
time.
for so long. And the Dodgers one's likely going to work out because it's just Mookie seems like he's just getting better and better and better.
Mhm.
But for a star like Fernando Tatis, it's, well, how much better do you think he can get? How much like he's already amazing, but how much better do you think he can get? Because I don't think if he put up the numbers he put up last season, he'll live up to that money. But that's a lot of money. I guess that's what you want to expect from him. But if you look at it long term, if you're looking at it long term, now you're saying, all right, he topped off in his age
Like
age
Xander.
22 season, he topped off then. And now
Xander
it doesn't look good.
Xander signed a 7-year contract a year and a half ago. Perfect.
The
7
only-
years. That's going to get him from his 26 to 33. Perfect.
The only
Mhm.
thing with Tatis, like I was he's so good right now that you expect him to improve. You expect him to get better into his prime and be at his greatest in the prime. You expect him to be almost twice the player he is now in his prime. That's how much players develop. But this guy's young and he's playing lights out baseball last year, at least for last year. He's playing worth his contract. If he continues this play, he'll be worth his contract. But if he doesn't improve at all and stays this play, which is still great baseball. Now you're looking at long term. We paid this guy $14 million. He didn't get better at all. He just stayed the same. And now you're saying, well,
He's
now
22.
is
He's
it
going to
worth
get
it?
better.
Yeah, I know. But the question is, he's already great. How much better do you think he can get?
Better.
I don't know. Who knows? Just
How much, though?
One last thing to wrap it up. Stupid California taxes. He has 360 million on his contract with minus the taxes.
It's 340.
It's 340. I thought it was 360.
No, it's 340.
340. 340 total contract after taxes. The take home is 170
50?
Takes
Yeah.
half.
because of California taxes. So if you're playing baseball and you get a contract extension,
Play in
request
Texas.
a trade to
Facts.
Texas and then request a trade back to that other team so you can go back so you can get paid a normal decent amount. So yeah, he only gets 170 of the 340 that's in his contract. Which is ridiculous. But anyways, we'll move on to the last quick thing before we go to picks, and that is the NBA All-Star voting. The starters are out, and Brian seemed to be disappointed that Jaylen Brown wasn't an NBA starter.
It's just that Kyrie, yes, he's probably more talented offensively, but the guy quit on his own team. He's not an all-star. He's not this season. Like, he's an all-star caliber player, but he's not an all-star this season just based on his actions. Jaylen Brown averaging nearly 27 points, plays phenomenal defense, was out. Obviously, Beal was number one voted by the media and coaches and whatever.
Well, that
GMs
makes sense.
or whatever it is.
But
Brown was 2 by the media and GMs and stuff. But by fans, he was 5. And by the players in the league, he was 5, which I think is blasphemy.
It's just stupid. The fan voting
Fan
is
voting
the
shouldn't be a thing.
stupidest thing.
They should just say it's a thing, but it shouldn't count.
Exactly.
Because Klay Thompson was like 6th in the West.
Yeah. Last year,
Hasn't played in 2 years.
Taco Fall was like
And
7th.
Caruso was 10th.
both of them were in the top 10 for their respective
It's
conferences.
so stupid.
Here's the thing, though. I think we can cry and whine all about the All-Star voting and say, oh, it's bullcrap. But you know what? At the end of the day, the guys that don't get started, the guys that get snubbed, they come out of this with motivation and they play better, and it's really fun to watch. I like seeing the edge those guys have.
Like Bradley Beal, he was snubbed last year from the entire game
Yeah.
itself, and now he's averaging like 35.
Guys that come out
He's
that
insane.
are so much more motivated, juiced up to play well, and it's really fun to watch. It makes really good content on social media. That's what good comes out of this. But I think we can cry and whine about Jaylen Brown not getting to the All-Star game or not getting into the starting lineup for the All-Stars and blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is record. The only thing that matters is record. And for Jaylen Brown, the only thing he should care about is All-Pro, NBA, All-Pro, first team, second team, whatever, because the fans don't have a say in that. That's the true media gurus. They go in, the wise guys. They know better than we do, and they tell it the way they call it the way they see it, and he'll get reckoned if he continues this 27 average play. U3 Jaylen Brown will be very much recognized at the end of the season, regardless of the Celtics record.
And the All NBA.
That's the only thing that matters.
All NBA also benefits incoming contracts, which doesn't really help him now. But if he can continue to be one up by his next contract, that will help him a lot.
He might not be first
he's gonna
team,
get
but if he can get second. If he can get second or third team, that's a really good accomplishment for him. And
I see him as
that's
a
something
third.
that we need to talk about more than the All-Star starters. That's something that we need to talk about more when that happens. I mean, this is the same guys you had in every year, the same guys you'd expect. Obviously, 100% out of 100 out of 100 times, Kyrie Irving's going to get it over Jaylen Brown because Kyrie Irving can put a ball between his legs a million times and make somebody fall. Okay, Jaylen Brown plays fundamental defense, but that's not recognizable to the fans because you got guys in jean shorts, flat brims, and LeBron James Lakers jerseys that live out in Arkansas that when their team's playing defense, they go on their
Andrews
phone.
leave. Yeah, by
And when their
Andrew.
team's back on offense, okay, then they're actually glued to the TV when their team's on offense. All
Yep.
right. They don't care about defense. They're not watching that. They're just watching where the ball goes. They don't care how good off-ball defense Jaylen Brown plays. They only care about the big orange circle in Kyrie Irving's hands. That's all they care. So this was bound to happen. Yeah, got snubbed from the starter, but he made the All-Star team. So
Not yet, but
he will.
hopefully. Who knows? Who knows?
27 points a game.
Isn't up to
He'll make the
fans,
All-Star
so
team.
he-
We can
he
cry about the
basically already
starting
did.
lineup, but who cares? He'll make the All-Star team, and what matters is the All-Pro, and what matters is the Celtics record. Those are the only two things that matter. All-Pro for players, Celtics record. That's for you guys. At
Yeah.
least. That's what matters.
Yep.
Luke, you got a
I
memo, buddy?
think,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I think besides that, we can argue Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, whatever. Everything else is pretty much right. The West, Kawhi, LeBron, Jokic, Curry, Doncic is fine, and then Beal, Durant, Giannis, and Joel
Also,
Embiid.
Let me just point out for that matter. Can we all agree? Would you guys vote Beal in over Brown as a starter?
Yes, 100%.
So when most fans do their all-star voting, they're not going to, even though it's backcourt, they're not going to put two shooting guards. Everyone subconsciously goes point guard, a traditional point guard, and they go with a traditional shooting guard. Right?
Everyone goes subconsciously Kyrie Irving over Jaylen Brown because 99% of the U.S. population knows Kyrie Irving over Jaylen Brown.
I just think it's worthwhile to point out that most people are going to subconsciously pick a point guard and a traditional point guard and a traditional shooting guard, in which case the rightful starter for that shooting guard spot would be Jaylen Brown, even though you could technically pick Brown and Beal to be point guard, shooting guard. But that's how they would have it on the ballot. So most guys are going to pick their point guard and their shooting guard, even though the backcourt, they hold the same title.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But that was the quick synopsis of the All-Star starters. Brian, you look like you want to say something. Do you want to say one more thing?
No, I'm just focusing on the Bruins' final 13 seconds here. They're gonna lose.
Okay.
They
They're going to lose, yeah.
10,
So speaking of the Bruins, we can go on to our picks. Andrew is in first. He went 3 for 3.
Let's
with
go.
Connor McDavid, the Jazz in Oklahoma. I am in second with 2. Marner and the Jazz, and then Nick and Brian both got 1. Draisaitl did not get 3 points. I'm sorry, Brian. He got 2 points in one game, but then he didn't get one in another.
That hit the post.
So it's
just hit the post with 2 seconds left, but I'm not positive.
oof. That's tough. But we'll start it off with the Bruins. What game plan? What
game you playing, Brian? What?
PGA, he said. Doesn't matter. The first one, the Bruins, who just lost, play against the Flyers on Lake Tahoe on Sunday at 2 p.m. Nicholas, who do you think is going to win this hockey match?
I'm going to go with the Bruins. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Brian?
Bruins, too, because the Flyers have COVID issues.
Oh, I didn't know that. Andrew?
Today was their first game in like a week and a half.
Beside the fact that they had COVID issues, the Bruins have dominated the Flyers this year, so I'm going to go Bruins.
That's also factuals. And we dominate outdoor games.
Okay.
True.
I'll go the Bruins
except
too.
for 2015 against Montreal. Kind of got clobbered there.
I'm going to go the Bruins too. I think it helps that they lost this game because I can't see them losing 2 games in a row all season. Well, maybe, but
they just did.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
because they lost to the Islanders. Never mind. I can't see them losing 3 in a row all season. There we go. I can't see them losing 3 in a row all season. So I think they're going to win this one. All right. Next game. This one is on Wednesday of next week. Nicholas's Lakers against the Utah Jazz. Nick, who do you think is going to win this one?
Lakers are going to be without AD. No, some probably the sensible pick would be Utah.
Okay. Brian?
Utah, because they're the best team in the league.
Yeah, Utah, all the way.
Okay. I'll spice things up and say the Lakers. Do I realistically think so? Absolutely the heck not. But hey, Nice to have some diversity. Last game. This is the big one. Sunday at 1 p.m. Number 3 ranked Michigan and against number 4 ranked Ohio State. Nick, who do we have in this one?
Michigan closed out their game against Wisconsin, I want to say, on either Sunday or Saturday of last week really well, and I was really impressed by that way I played because I had to watch the last 15 minutes of it while there was a stupid 15-minute delay between Golf Channel and
You
CBS
had to or you
coverage of it.
got to?
I had
He
to.
had to.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
Nick.
Absolutely had to. I couldn't watch PGA Tour live because they were showing friggin' Francesco Molinari was +1. I didn't give a rat's ass about that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So I had to watch. And there's a stupid 15-minute delay, which makes absolutely no sense.
And they cut
Absolutely no
coverage
sense.
today at 6. Like,
It's bull crap. It's bull crap. Well, whatever. So I had to watch the game, and I was actually really impressed by the way Michigan closed out that game against Wisconsin, number 21 seed at the time. So I'm gonna have to take Michigan. That's the only impression. I don't have many impressions on Ohio State this year. I do have a couple on Michigan. I know they're a great team. They're third in the country for a reason. So I'll go with number 3 Michigan.
Brian?
I'm gonna have to sling it along with the Wolverines too because I think they're a solid team. Ohio State's not playing great against the school that Nicholas Parga attends right now. They're probably gonna win, but still close. So yeah,
Penn State basketball's ass too. That's weird.
I know. It's only a 3-point game. Like
They're
11
so
minutes left.
bad. They were good last year, and then the tournament didn't happen. They would have made the tournament last year. Actually, they lost like 3 in a row at the end of the year, but they would have made the tournament last year.
And
But this year they suck. I don't even.
Andrew?
yeah, gonna have to go Michigan too. I hate to be unoriginal here, but I mean Michigan's playing great basketball. Like I was gonna bring up Ohio State's game against Penn State. Not doing too hot. Like Brian said, they're gonna win. But I just think
Where's
Michigan is
Liddell?
overall the better team, better squad.
Apt analysis, Andrew.
This one's a tough one. Just because Michigan is a top 2 defensive team in the Big Ten right now.
I'm just gonna pick Ohio State to spice it up.
I might, just because Michigan hasn't played anyone. Ohio State beat Illinois, I think, earlier in the year, and they already played Iowa. I'm not sure if they won that game. I can check right now. They did. They beat Iowa on Thursday of last week. And Michigan hasn't played Iowa or Illinois, who are both top 12 seeds in the entire country and both Big Ten teams. So Michigan really hasn't played anyone. The only ranked teams, I think, of Wisconsin, and they're playing Rutgers right now, who was ranked at one point, but they really haven't had too many big games against ranked opponents. Livers is playing really well right now, but on the other side, EJ Liddell is playing really well for Ohio State. 2 forwards who really don't play the same style of game, but they're going to face off against each other. I'm just going to go Ohio State just because they've played a lot better teams than Michigan, and I think they're going to be more prepared to win this game. So I'll go Ohio State.
Yeah. Big 10 and Big 12 tournaments are going to be
They're gonna
so
be
fun to
insane.
watch.
Yeah,
They're going to be
I'm
so
watching-
fun to watch.
Big 10 or Big 12? I don't know what's better right now.
I don't know.
Bias tells me Big 12 just because Kansas is in it, but
Yeah, but Kansas
honestly,
is terrible.
well, they're ranked now. They're back in the top 25. They're going to make the
Are you
tournament.
serious? Kansas got ranked?
Yes, they're ranked again. They beat they beat a bunch of trash teams. They beat Iowa State the other day, who's not very good. And who
that's-
else do they beat? Kansas State.
Play
But they-
is
but they
to
beat-
suck so that when they get knocked out of the tournament, it's not disappointing for them.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
That is true.
You have nothing to lose. You suck.
I
I mean,
don't-
hey, we got kicked. We got our butts
They don't have
kicked.
to play a
Who
1
cares? We
seed in the
suck
second
anyways.
round because they're going to be like an 8.
I mean, I
Can't
would say
suck if
that.
you already do.
Well, so Brian, though, so you said last week that Ohio State isn't going to be a 1 seed because they're in the Big Ten. I think they're going to have to be because
If they beat
they're
Michigan, and
3.
Big
Well,
Ten
no, there are
title game.
3. There are 3 top 5 Big Ten teams. It goes Michigan at 3, Ohio State at 4, and Illinois at 5. So
Well,
unless they want to
Illinois
go
would be a 2 seed in
unless-
March Madness, then
so
That's
unless
true.
they want to go all the way down to Houston, who's number 6, who is probably going to get bumped out because they lost today. So then it's going to be like Virginia or Alabama as a 1 seed, which they don't deserve to be. It's going to have to be 2 Big Ten teams as number 1 seeds.
It might be Virginia solely because they'll probably win the ACC championship.
That's true.
Yeah, but the ACC is weak. I don't think that
or
they'll
Nova.
Big East is all. I in my opinion, I would just put 2 Big Ten teams because the Big Ten is really good. And I say I would just do that. I would do that.
It could happen for sure.
Baylor and Gonzaga are locks, pretty much.
I know they get bumped out, but I mean, I guess it's the fact that one of those 2 teams, Michigan or Ohio State, if they meet in the Big Ten championship and they're both top 5 teams at that time, and they're probably going to be set up for 1 season in the March Madness, one of those teams has to lose a game somehow. If it's a hard-fought game, a very hard-fought game, and both teams impress, just because one team loses doesn't mean they won't, kick that team out of being a 1 seed.
It could also be
that team lost to a team that team is a top 5 team, and they lost to a team that was better than them. One of the 4 teams in the country that were better than them. So, I mean, that's what you'd expect. So they'd be a 1 seed, probably that 4th 1 seed in.
Well, also very well much could be Illinois too, because they're
5
and they're 5th in the country right now, and Desumnu is playing really well. And
if I like what I see in the game this week, if I like what I see in that game, then the 1 seed should hypothetically just be Gonzaga, Baylor, Ohio State, Michigan. Not in that order. Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, have you guys seen Illinois center? He's actually really good, but do you know his name? I don't know if I want to say it or not.
Oh, is it the guy you told me?
Yes. No, I don't want to
what's his
say
name?
it. Here, I'll copy and paste it into our chat right here if it lets me.
Try and pronounce it.
You try and pronounce it.
Kofi?
Look at his last name.
Kofi Cockburn?
Yes. I mean, he averages 17 and 10. He's really good. Him and Desumnu are
Kofi
the reasons.
Like the wrestler.
No, but him and Desumnu are the reasons that they're 5th in the country. So it could be them.
Cockburn Desumnu.
No, Ayu Desumnu is their other player. He's going to be a lottery pick, I think. I don't actually know. He probably isn't because he's an upperclassman. Regardless, doesn't matter. Big Ten is going to be Illinois, Ohio State, Michigan. 2 of those teams, in my opinion, should be 1 seeds, barring a catastrophic end of the season and Big Ten tournament from 2 of those teams. So, regardless, I think that catastrophic, like I don't know, losing out.
I just said catastrophic.
Catastrophic. I didn't say catastrophic. I know I didn't.
No,
say
I know. I said
catastrophic.
it's a movie Pixels. It's funny spot.
Okay. That's it. Final thoughts.
Go Pats!
Go Spieth.
Go Spieth. Go Pats.
No, screw freaking Spieth.
Okay.
2 top 5. Two top 5 teams would be playing each other in the Big Ten semifinals. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just going to be fun. It's just going to be so fun to watch.
My final thought. Episode
Election
50
Sunday,
on
boys,
Monday.
24 days away.
What happened?
Episode 50 on Monday. That's my final thought. Craziness. Don't know what we're going to do for it yet, but stay tuned.
We have to all wear gold.
Maybe we should prepare.
Yeah, we should. But I don't know what we're going to do. It'll be interesting.
No, because I have midterm week next week.
Why don't we just reminisce the whole time?
Reminisce?
Yeah, let's just reminisce the whole time.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Webcast spectacular.
Okay. We're going to end it there. Thank you guys for listening. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big 4_podcast. See you on Monday.
Go Pats!
Go Pats.